Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat in silence? No phone, no notifications, no dopamine hits every 5 seconds. If that question makes you uncomfortable, that's the problem. Because discomfort is where growth lives, and your phone has been protecting you from it. Here's the brutal truth. Your phone isn't just stealing your time, it's rewiring your brain. Every notification trains you to react instead of think. Every scroll teaches you to escape instead of endure. Every like conditions you to seek validation instead of mastery. And over time, without realizing it, you become weaker, not physically, mentally. You can't focus. You can't sit with a hard problem. You can't push through boredom, and boredom is the gateway to creativity. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes when your attention is owned by a screen. Let's get something straight. Focus is not a talent, it's a muscle, and right now, most people are letting that muscle atrophy. While you're scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, someone else is stacking skills. While you're consuming content, someone else is creating value. While you're distracted, someone else is becoming dangerous. And here's the scary part: phone addiction feels harmless. No hangovers, no obvious crashes, just quiet decay. You lose ambition, you lose patience. You lose the ability to delay gratification, which is the foundation of every meaningful success. Your brain starts demanding constant stimulation. Real work feels boring, real conversations feel slow, real life feels dull. But real life isn't dull. Your dopamine system is broken. You weren't meant to live like this. You were meant to build, to struggle, to focus deeply on something that matters. And here's the empowering part: the moment you reclaim your attention, everything changes. Your confidence rises, your clarity sharpens. Your self-respect returns, because discipline isn't about restriction, it's about choosing what deserves your energy. So start small. Put the phone down when it's uncomfortable. Sit with the boredom. Train your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Remember this: you don't become extraordinary by motivation. You become extraordinary by what you do when no one is watching and the phone is right next to you. Control your attention, or it will control you, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will ruin your potential faster than that. Your phone is not just a device you use, it is a training machine, and every single day it is shaping how your brain works. Every swipe, every tap, every quick glance is teaching your mind one simple rule: avoid discomfort at all costs. The moment you feel bored, uncertain, anxious, or challenged, your hand reaches for the screen. That reaction may feel harmless, but over time it quietly destroys your ability to sit with difficulty, and that ability is the foundation of deep focus and mental resilience. Discomfort is where the brain grows stronger. Struggle forces concentration, patience, and problem solving. But when your phone offers instant relief, your brain never learns to push through. Instead of staying with a hard task, you escape. Instead of thinking deeply, you distract yourself. Instead of building endurance, you train avoidance. The brain adapts to what it practices most, and constant scrolling conditions it to crave stimulation, novelty, and instant rewards. Focus requires sustained attention, and sustained attention feels uncomfortable at first. Reading something challenging, learning a new skill, or solving a complex problem demands effort, but the phone interrupts that effort before it can turn into momentum. Each interruption resets your attention span, making it harder to return to depth. Over time, even short periods of focus begin to feel exhausting, not because you are incapable, but because your brain has been trained to quit early. Mental resilience works the same way. Resilience is built by staying present during discomfort, stress, and uncertainty. When your phone becomes your escape hatch, you never build that resilience. You dull your emotional tolerance. Small frustrations feel overwhelming. Silence feels unbearable. Waiting feels impossible. The mind becomes fragile, not because life is harder, but because you've removed all the training that prepares you for it. The real danger is that this weakness doesn't announce itself. It shows up quietly as procrastination, lack of discipline, low motivation, and an inability to commit deeply to anything meaningful. The brain starts demanding constant stimulation just to feel normal. Real work feels boring, real conversations feel slow, and real progress feels too difficult. Without realizing it, you trade long-term strength for short-term comfort, and the cost is your ability to think deeply, stay focused, and endure the very challenges that make growth possible. Focus has become one of the rarest abilities in the modern world, and rarity creates power. The ability to concentrate deeply on one thing without distraction is now a competitive advantage, yet most people surrender it without a second thought. Every time you open your phone out of habit, every time you scroll with no intention, you are giving away something incredibly valuable for nothing in return. Attention is the currency of achievement, and you are spending it on things that give you no long-term return. While you scroll, time is passing, and time is the only resource you never get back. Somewhere, someone is using that same hour to practice a skill, study a craft, build a business, or strengthen their body and mind. The difference between progress and stagnation is rarely intelligence or talent. It is the ability to stay focused long enough to produce meaningful work. Focus allows effort to compound, and compounding is what separates ordinary outcomes from extraordinary ones. Distraction fragments your thinking. Instead of going deep, you stay on the surface of everything. You know a little about many things but master nothing. Shallow engagement feels productive, but it produces shallow results. Deep focus, on the other hand, is uncomfortable at first. It demands discipline, patience, and the willingness to ignore short-term pleasure. That discomfort is the price of control, and most people are unwilling to pay it. Control over your attention is control over your life. When you decide what deserves your focus, you decide what grows. Skills only develop when you give them uninterrupted time. Wealth is built by sustained effort and strategic thinking, not scattered attention. Discipline is strengthened every time you resist the urge to escape into distraction. Each moment of focus is a vote for the person you want to become. The tragedy is not that distractions exist, but that they are willingly embraced. You are not being forced to give up your focus. You are trading it away because it feels easier in the moment. But ease is expensive. It costs momentum, confidence, and self-respect. When you reclaim your attention, your output increases, your thinking sharpens, and your sense of purpose grows stronger. The gap between those who build and those who stagnate is not effort alone, but the ability to focus while others drift, consume, and waste the most powerful tool they have without ever realizing its true value. Dopamine is often mistaken for happiness, but it is not fulfillment, peace, or meaning. It is a chemical designed to push you toward a reward, not to let you enjoy life. When your phone delivers endless hits of novelty, validation, and stimulation, it hacks that system and keeps it permanently switched on. Each notification, like, and video gives a tiny spike that feels good for a moment, then quickly fades, leaving you wanting more. That cycle is not satisfaction, it is craving. When the brain is flooded with easy dopamine, it becomes desensitized. What once felt exciting now feels normal, and what is normal soon feels boring. To compensate, the brain demands stronger or more frequent stimulation. This is why checking your phone stops being a choice and starts becoming an impulse. You reach for it not because you are happy, but because you feel restless, uncomfortable, or slightly empty, and the brain has learned that the screen is the fastest escape. Over time, this hijacking of the reward system changes how you experience everyday life. Tasks that require effort feel pointless. Long-term goals feel too far away to matter. The patience needed to build something meaningful disappears. Motivation drops not because you lack ambition, but because your brain has been trained to expect reward without work. When real life cannot compete with instant digital stimulation, it begins to feel dull and exhausting, Anxiety grows in the background of this cycle. Constant stimulation keeps the nervous system activated, never allowing it to fully rest. The mind jumps from thought to thought, unable to settle. Silence feels uncomfortable. Stillness feels threatening. Instead of feeling calm, you feel uneasy when the phone is not nearby, as if something is missing. That missing feeling is not happiness, it is dependency. The most dangerous part is the emotional emptiness that follows. Dopamine highs are short-lived and they do not build meaning or connection. When the stimulation ends, there is nothing solid underneath it. No sense of progress, no deep satisfaction, no pride in effort. You can spend hours consuming content and still feel strangely unfulfilled. Real happiness comes from growth, contribution, and overcoming difficulty, but those things require patience and discomfort. When dopamine is abused through constant phone use, it trains the brain to chase pleasure while avoiding the very experiences that create lasting fulfillment, leaving you caught in a loop of stimulation, fatigue, and quiet dissatisfaction. Most people like to believe they will rise to their potential someday, as if potential is something that automatically lifts them upward over time. In reality, life does not work that way. You don't rise to your goals, your dreams, or your intentions. You fall to the level of your daily habits. What you repeatedly do, especially when no one is watching, determines the direction of your life. Your phone, when left unchecked, becomes one of the most powerful habits shaping your behavior, your thinking, and your future. Control is rarely taken from you all at once. It slips away slowly through small compromises. You check your phone for a minute and lose 20. You intend to focus but get pulled into notifications. You plan to rest but end up overstimulated. These moments seem insignificant on their own, but habits are built through repetition, not intensity. Over time, your phone starts deciding how you spend your mornings, how often you get distracted, how late you stay awake, and how deeply you engage with your own life. When a habit runs automatically, it no longer feels like a choice. You reach for your phone without thinking, you scroll without purpose, you react instead of acting intentionally. This automatic behavior erodes self-discipline because discipline depends on conscious control. Each time you give in, you reinforce the habit, making it stronger and harder to break. Eventually, your days become shaped by distraction, not direction. The quiet danger is that this control affects more than just productivity. It influences how you think, how patient you are, and how present you feel with others. Goals that require consistency and long-term effort start to feel overwhelming. You lose momentum because momentum requires structure, and habits are the structure of your life. Without intentional habits, even the strongest potential remains unused. Your phone does not need to ruin your life dramatically to control it. It only needs to steal small pieces of your attention, your time, and your energy every day. Those losses compound, progress slows, confidence fades, dreams get postponed indefinitely. The life you imagined stays just out of reach, not because you weren't capable, but because your habits quietly pulled you in a different direction, shaping your outcomes long before you noticed what was happening.